Did you look over any of
All
them?
right.
Yeah.
So when I just put my thumb up, is that fine? All right. So we can start.
This is an oral history interview conducted for the Witness to War Serving a Nation project at Austin Regional High School on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. For the sake of this interview, please state your full name and community in which you now reside.
My name is Scott Halway. I live in Wellfleet, Massachusetts.
Okay, so could you describe your life growing up on the Cape for us?
I grew up in Truro in a small home. Had two brothers and a sister, and we just did the usual things that kids do. Just the recreation in the summertime. Played sports with my friends and worked in the summertime. Just the usual.
Did anybody in your family serve in the military before you?
No.
Then what did inspire you to serve?
Well, when I was graduating high school, I knew that I wasn't going to go to college. That wasn't in the, in it for me. So I needed to do something, and saw the Coast Guard my whole life. Growing up in Truro in Provincetown, and saw what they did, and it was really interesting for me. And I liked being on the water at the time.
Could you explain what your family thought about you choosing to serve?
They were all for me going into the Coast Guard. It was tough leaving though, because I was the first one in my family to actually leave the Cape. So it was kind of hard for all of us not seeing each other anymore. But they were behind me.
Was there any particular reason you chose the Coast Guard over another branch of the military?
Yeah, probably because growing up in in Provincetown, Truro area, I was able to see what the Coast Guard did and what they were all about, and I just thought it was interesting. And Provincetown being a fishing community, and a lot of my family, were fishermen. Saw what they did and thought it would be interesting to help out the fishermen and community.
What was your occupation in the...
I was an aviation survival technician.
Could you discuss the training for your occupation?
Yeah, we basically what we did is we trained all the air crew, pilots, how to survival, shallow water survival, helicopter egress. We were emergency medical technicians, and also my collateral duty was the rescue swimmer. So our training was 16 weeks in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, where we learned how to do the technical part of the job, like rescue and survival equipment. And then the last 4 weeks of our training was in Pensacola, Florida, where we learned how to become helicopter rescue swimmers.
What was the most difficult part of training for you?
The Pensacola part, the helicopter rescue swimmer training.
Can you describe what you liked and disliked about the training?
It was all day for 4 weeks, and it was we were 40 people in our class, and there was 2 of us down there that were Coast Guard, and the rest were Navy. So there's always been a rivalry between Coast Guard and Navy. So being 2 Coast Guardsmen in a Navy school was kind of tough.
Did anybody drop out, and did you ever consider dropping out?
We started off with 40 people, I believe it was, in our class, and we ended up graduating with 6.
Did you ever consider dropping out?
Yeah. So at one time it was it was pretty tough, and one point I did consider it, but then it was a fleeting thought and went away, and just refocused and stayed, which I'm glad I did.
Was the training mostly outdoors or mostly indoors?
It was all inside. Well, we did our physical fitness training, the PT they call it. We did that in the mornings outside, and then most of the we'd have a little bit of classroom training, and then most of it would be in the pool.
What did PT consist of?
Push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups, running, for probably a couple hours. A lot of long runs.
What did they teach you in the classroom training?
We did for the emergency medical technician and the different types of equipment that associated with being an aircrew and helicopters.
Could you explain what was going through your head when you finished training?
It was just very overwhelming because I was there for so long, and you're there all the time doing this training, and when it was really tough. It was really hard. The last day, thing called multi-rescues. You have to simulate rescuing 4 people in the pool, and that's where a lot of people get kicked out or fail. And it was kind of like, is this it? When you're done, is that it? So.
After finishing training, where were you first stationed and what was it like?
It was Cape May, New Jersey, Air Station Cape May. And it was basically, we got there and they just threw us right into the duty rotation. They did like an orientation type thing for like a week or so, but then after that, they're like, you're on your own now. So it was baptism by fire, they call it. So you get in there and you learn from your mistakes, and
Could you describe exactly what you did at Cape May?
It was, like I said, we were in charge of all the rescue and survival equipment, like the rescue baskets, the slings, and the floats on the airplanes, and we were in charge of the inside of the aircraft, like the seats and stuff like that. So we maintained all that type of equipment, and like I said, we trained the air crewmen and the pilots on different types of like shallow water training and just stuff like that. And we also, like I said, we were the emergency medical technicians, so we'd have to do weekly training, and we'd have to work out every day and 3 days a week, and running and push-ups and sit-ups, all that stuff that we did in school, and then we went to the pool 2 days a week.
What did your normal routine in the pool consist of?
We'd get in the pool and we'd do a 500-meter warm-up swim, without any gear. And then we'd put our gear on, like our harnesses and fins and masks and snorkel, that type of stuff. And then we'd do another, I think, 400-meter. And then we'd do buddy tows, where, you'd grab somebody and simulate that you're, swimming somebody to a rescue basket. And then we'd do life-saving drills, and we'd play around. We'd do underwater hockey, stuff like that.
Could you describe why you chose this occupation over another in the Coast Guard?
It was interesting because when I first came into the Coast Guard, the rescue swimmer program wasn't out yet, and I was an electrician when I first came in. And then when the swimmer program came online, it seemed really interesting and very adventurous, so it's something I wanted to try, so I kind of almost lateraled over to it.
Did you serve in any major events, and what did you do?
I did go down to Hurricane Katrina in 2005 when that happened, when it hit landfall. I was down there, I believe it was 12 hours later. We flew an aircraft from Cape Cod down to Louisiana, and then there was a crew already there, and then they needed relief, so they sent myself and a flight mechanic and 2 pilots down. We flew us down on a Falcon jet, and we was down there for like 5 days. And we basically went from neighborhood to neighborhood, hoisting people off rooftops and cutting people out of the rooftops with axes and chainsaws and different type of stuff like that. We did major evacuations off. People would be trapped on schools and hospitals and stuff like that. And we'd do major airlifts from there.
How many people do you think you saved?
I don't know. I don't know.
Could you describe what your most memorable moment in the Coast Guard was?
Probably in 2004, we flew 250 miles off Nantucket, about eastern Nantucket, and we pulled 2 people off a sailboat in 40-foot seas. So it was rewarding, but at the time it was scary because the sea state, and it was really windy out that day, and it was good though.
Could you describe what your darkest moment in the Coast Guard was?
Probably that day, because we were up at 7,000 feet flying out there, and when we descended through the clouds to go down to get the sailboat, the aircraft iced up, and we were descending faster than we wanted to, and then when the pilot tried to pull the power to go back up, the aircraft was too heavy, so we were preparing to ditch because we couldn't stop the descent. But luckily, last minute, when we got through the clouds, it got a little bit warmer, and it shed all the ice off the aircraft, and we everything was okay.
Could you describe how you saved those 2 people?
What happened was because the seas were so big, the 40-foot seas, what they did is the flight mechanic, I got hooked up to the hoist, and the rescue device was hooked up to the hoist. And what they do is called direct deployment, is they would lower me down, connected to the hoist, and he'd bring the helicopter over the survivor, and it'd pick the person up, and then he'd hoist me back up. Now keep in mind, if you're in 40-foot seas, you're not going to be able to swim and keep your eye on the survivor. So we had to do, like I said, the procedure called direct deployment, and we did it twice.
You obviously could not save everybody when you went out. How did you choose who to save?
Luckily, I was never in a situation really where I had to say, you live, you die. But basically, what they do teach you to do is, you try to save the people that are weaker and not as strong, and then you move on to the people that are stronger, because if you get 2 people in the water, one that can't really swim and somebody that can swim, the person in the water can tread water a little bit longer until you can help the person that can't swim. So that's the thought process on that.
Was there anybody you could not save?
We've had to do some medevacs before, where we've had people like fishermen having heart attacks and flying out, and you get down on the boat and there's CPR progress, and you hook up the defibrillator to see if you can save them. But by the time you get out there, because it's such a long preparation to get the helicopter going, and by the time you get out there, the person's really long gone. So
could you describe one of those times?
It was a boat that capsized off, I think, Woods Hole, and the crew, another boat pulled the captain of this boat out of the water, and I got lowered down, and I put the defibrillator on him, and there was no detectable rhythm. We weren't able to shock him, so it's sad, because that guy has a family and friends, and you feel kind of a little helpless that you can't help. We weren't able to help him.
Could you describe how it felt whenever you could not save somebody?
You don't really dwell on it too long, but you feel sad for the family.
Was there any major connection you might have had with a colleague?
Yeah, it was a guy named Chris Davis. He was actually the flight mechanic when we went out and did that rescue off Nantucket, and I think it's because we didn't think we were going to come back. I think it's, we created a bond, and we keep in touch all the time, and he's now the flight mechanic is the guy that actually runs the winch that lowers the rescue device or the rescue swimmer. So he's the guy. Basically, I had my life in his hands, so trusted him with my life.
Could you describe your favorite place you were stationed?
I liked Air Station Cape Cod. That was my last air station, before I retired. It It was very busy, high tempo, always something going on. Plus it was home too. It was good to be able to be home for your last, 4 years of your career.
Were you ever very scared when you went on a mission, and did you ever get used to it?
You're not scared until after the fact, because you get all the years of training, and you're waiting to do something like the rescue off Nantucket, and you're so focused and you're so ready to go that you're not really scared. It's not until after, when you're done and you're sitting back and you think about what just happened, then that's when you get a little bit nervous. You'll get a little shaky.
What were the worst conditions you ever had to serve in?
Probably that the rescue off Nantucket.
Is being a rescue swimmer what you always wanted to do?
No, it was something that came up and was interesting, and just happened to,
Was there
do it.
something you wanted to do from being like a small child?
I knew I wanted to probably go into the service somehow, some kind of branch of the military, but wasn't too sure.
What was it like serving with women in the Coast Guard, and do you think they should be in the Coast Guard?
The women, if right now there's about at any given point there's between 270 and 300 rescue swimmers in the Coast Guard. There's about 40,000 people in the Coast Guard, and right now I believe that there's probably 3 or 4 women that do the job, and there's a lot of women that I know that are flight mechanics, and they do the same job that a guy can do.
Would you do it over again?
Yeah, in a second.
Would you do anything differently?
I probably would have stayed in for 30 years instead of retiring after 20 years.
How come?
There's more places that I really like to have gone. I probably would have liked to get stationed in Hawaii, Alaska. There's a couple of places in Alaska, Sitka and Kodiak, that I could have gone. And I was pretty much an East Coast guy. There's usually East Coast swimmers, West Coast swimmers, and then there's the guys that go back and forth between, Kodiak and Sitka and Hawaii.
Could you describe... no, sorry. Would you recommend a younger person to serve in the military?
Yeah, it's a very good opportunity for many reasons. It instills responsibility. Absolutely made me grow up really quick. And there's a lot of benefits to it too. You can, you're able to get health benefits and college. I mean, I got when I was in the military, I got my associate's degree. Didn't cost me anything. And then after I, retired, I had the post 9/11 GI Bill, and I was able to get my bachelor's degree and didn't have to pay for it. So it's a really good opportunity. You have you create lifelong friends, and it was a really good deal, and I recommend it for anybody that can, even if it's just 4 years.
Do you stay in touch with any of those lifelong
Regularly,
friends?
yep. I talked to my friend Chris, the flight mechanic, on that case, the rescue we had off Nantucket. I talked to him about 20 minutes ago, actually. He called me up.
Could you describe why you stopped serving in the military?
You can retire after 20 years, and my thought process is, because my career field was there's so few of us in there, for somebody to get it to advance to the next rank, someone's either got to retire, get out, or die. And I wanted to make room for other people to get advanced, and I did my 20 years. I was, able to, retire, and just thought it was, fair. There's a lot of people that, subscribe to the same, thought process of moving on after 20 years.
Has anything gone very wrong during a mission?
Not me, but there has been, absolutely. You can't you can't plan for anything. You know, you have to just take it as it comes along.
How did you feel each time you went on a mission?
There's routine missions like if somebody shoots a flare off, you go out and you search for looking for a possible, person in the water or a disabled boat, or you could be going to out saving people off a known boat that's sinking, or people in the water. So you just, you have the same thought process. You just try to stay focused and you try to do the best that you can.
Could you explain what values the service instilled in you?
Coast Guard's was honor, respect, devotion to duty. And then there was integrity, patriotism. That's a good one. Is when you're in the military, you become I think very patriotic. I think that's maybe inside you anyway, but it brings it out even more. Being patriotic.
Did serving in the Coast Guard influence your choice to become a police officer?
Yeah. It kind of fit for me. It really did. It was not the same exact thing, but it's police organization. It's the same paramilitary. You have your chain of command, rank structure, and it just plus it was my hometown too, so that was even a plus.
Could you describe what you learned in the service that you use in your job now?
Just the regular values that we talk about. Talked about earlier with coming to work on time and being honest all the time and having respect, that type of stuff.
How did your time in the service change you?
I definitely grew up really quick. That first day, and when you get off the bus at boot camp, and it's a life changer, because you got people yelling and screaming at you because anything that you do is wrong, so you can't do anything right, and that's where they make boys and girls into men and women. So it makes you grow up real quick.
How do you think your life would have changed if you didn't serve?
I don't even want to begin to think about that.
Could you describe what you think is a hero?
The guys over in Afghanistan fighting the battle over there.
What values do you think a hero should have?
Honor, respect, devotion to duty, integrity, not thinking about self, thinking about their others, thinking about their brothers, because guys over there fighting right now, they're the war. They're not fighting they're fighting for each other, to help each other stay alive, more than the cause over there. So,
if you weren't to serve in the Coast Guard, where would you serve?
I think Air Force is a really good branch of service.
What do you think you would do in the Air Force?
There's a career field called pararescueman, and it's almost the same thing as being an aviation survival technician, but they're more combat oriented, and they do parachuting and stuff like that. They're paramedics. It's a more intense version of what I did in the Coast Guard.
What was your best memory in or out of the Coast Guard?
I just think that my the lifelong friends that I've developed in the Coast Guard. I can't sit here and tell you 20 years of memories like that, but I can tell you that's the lifelong friends that I have.
Do you believe any of those friends were heroes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why so?
Because they all went to work every day, and there was a possibility that they might not come home that night.
Did you ever believe you weren't going to come home?
Just that one time, and when we went to that rescue off in Nantucket.
Can you describe an exact moment or time in Hurricane Katrina, like a mission, when you were saving somebody?
I just remember my first, we staged out of Mobile, Alabama, and we flew down every day. It was an hour flight to Louisiana. And I just remember at that time we flew with two of us. There was two rescue swimmers. We usually only fly with one, and it was two of us. And it was a kid I knew from Clearwater. And I kept asking him, Brett, what's it like down there? He already been there for a day. He said, just wait. I said, is there going to be anything left for us to do? He goes, just wait. And I remember flying in a neighborhood, and we're hovering in a neighborhood, and there was so many people that needed help that were on rooftops and balconies and on top of vehicles that needed help, and it was just overwhelming just to know where to start. And that was the first thing that really always sticks in my mind. It was just, like I said, there's so many people that needed help. It was just overwhelming to say, okay, where do you start?
How many people did you work with in Hurricane Katrina?
I flew 5 different missions, and there was a pilot, co-pilot, flight mechanic, and then there was 2 rescue swimmers. So.
Did you know any of those people previously?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did you know them?
Stationed with a few of them. Because my career field was so small, there was only 270 of us at the time, we all kind of, we didn't know each other, we knew of each other. So.
Was it only the Coast Guard that helped in Katrina, or did other branches?
No. The Air Force was down there, the Navy was down there. I believe some part of the National Guard was down there on the streets. So it was a collective effort with, all the branches of the military.
Is there anything you regret from your time in the service?
No.
Why did you choose to become a police officer?
First of all, I needed a job, and I kind of always wanted to. When I was in the Coast Guard, I was always thinking about what I was going to do after the fact, and always, kind of thought about becoming a police officer in my hometown, and it just, the opportunity was there, and I was able to take it. So.
How was the transition from Coast Guard to civilian life?
I went right from, basically, I retired one day, and then a few days later I started the police academy. And it was, police academy was like being in boot camp again, a watered down version of boot camp. So I was able to, I knew what it was about. I knew that it was all yelling and screaming and all that stuff, and I knew it was just a game they played, and I understood it, and it didn't affect me either way. I just knew it was just a game, and you just play the game.
Do you prefer your time in the service or your time in the police?
I really enjoyed being in the Coast Guard. I really enjoyed being a police officer. It's a lot tougher these days being a police officer, as you can see on TV how things are. I guess it's easier being in the Coast Guard when you're helping people. Not that we don't help people as police officers, but we're so scrutinized now that sometimes it's pretty tough.
What do you think about the conflicts with ISIS going on now?
We need to be more, as far as I'm concerned, we need to be more aggressive with them, because they want to kill us. Don't think it anything less than that. They want to come in here and they want to kill us, and we need to be more aggressive with them.
What do you think about the political race going on now?
It's going to be interesting. That's all I'll say about that.
Do you believe we should put troops on the ground over in Iraq and Syria?
I think the original reason why we went over there, searching for weapons of mass destruction, I think that was what we were originally, I think that was a good thing, but once we found that there was no weapons, I think we should have maybe rethought, what we were doing over there. But as far as Syria goes, I'm not too sure about that. It's easy for me sitting here saying, put troops in there because that's, those are human lives you're going to be putting in there, and those are guys that are going to get killed. So it's you need to know more about what's going on and who they have before you can make a decision like that.
If you have a son or a daughter, would you want them to go into the service?
Yeah, I would. If I had a son, and he wanted to go into the service, and there was a war going on, I'm not that type of person that said, not my son. Everybody else's son's okay to go, but not mine. That's just not fair. It's okay, I don't like the fact that people can say, I don't want my son to go over there, but it's okay if your son goes over there and gets killed. Not that I would want my son to get killed, but it's just, it's just how I think about that.
Well, I would like to thank you for
You're welcome.
speaking with us today.
Thanks.